It's time to wrap this story up.
So now we are at the wedding day. Me and my partner arrived to the venue super early. I didn't know what time we needed to be there, so let's get there. The caterer was the bride's aunt, and she met us there, but she didn't have a team either. So it's the three of us moving tables and chairs to match this floor plan that I had somehow created out of the sky. Now, don't get me wrong, the venue had really kind of brought things into the space, but it wasn't set up exactly how I wanted it, how I had envisioned it. So we had to move some tables and chairs around. We also had to put linens on the table. We also had to help set up the buffet. When I tell you, by the time the bride actually arrived to the venue, I was exhausted. Yeah, I was super tired because the auntie was by herself, and it's me and my partner, just the three of us, women, moving all of this stuff around. And when the bride gets here, I gotta smile and greet her, and she's got an attitude, going through some things. I don't know what the heck has happened, but anyways, whatever occurred, we found out that this wedding was going to be late. Okay, it was gonna be tardy. It was not going to start on time. Bride is in her room. She's finishing up hair and makeup. I let the groom know what is going on. I says, hey, we need to have a conversation with the DJ about tardiness. Play some music as guests are arriving. Play something nice and mellow. Keep them at bay. Keep them calm while I speed along this wedding party that is kind of going through something in this dressing room. So the DJ was cool with that, but then he asked me, do you have like a timeline or a layout or something that I can follow? I'm like, I got you. I knew enough to be dangerous, y'all. I'm telling y'all, I knew enough. Simply because I had the corporate background, I had done some events, so I knew that I needed to have a timeline. Now, it was not detailed by any means, nothing like you would see now from me, but I had enough on there to let him know what time something was going to happen. I did not have the wedding party names listed on there, so I told him, hey, when it's time to do the introductions, I'll scribble some names down. Hopefully you can read my chicken scratch and you can call off the names for the intros. We finally get this wedding started. I have to believe it was about 30 minutes late, if I could remember. And the ceremony and reception were taking place in the same room. Y'all, I had no clue how this was going to go. I'll just be honest. I knew that I needed to send the wedding party down the aisle to the music, and I knew that the bride needed to go down the aisle to the music, and that they were ultimately going to meet her and the groom on the dance floor, and the minister was going to marry them there. Y'all. Why start the wedding without the minister knowing? Yeah. I'm sending people in to go down the aisle, y'all. Listen, I'm sending people in to go down the aisle, and the minister is like in the foyer area talking to the lady at the front desk. I forgot about the minister. So as everybody is going down the aisle, we finally send the bride in with her father, and they are at the altar, the groom, the bride and her father, and there's no minister. It took me seconds to realize that the man is not up there. He's behind me talking to somebody at the front desk. I'm grabbing, hey, you got to get into this ceremony. Y'all, the minister, I remember this. The minister comes like, he wasn't running, but he was speed walking down the aisle to get up to the front. Yeah, it all worked out. I also have to say that we forgot the microphone up front, so he had to talk very, very loudly. But I will say, because the room was pretty small and there were not a lot of people here, that everybody was able to hear. But that was the first of many mistakes that I had made at this wedding. So after they have kissed and everybody is clapping and they are exiting out, the photographer took them outside with the wedding party to take some photographs. The guests are kind of sitting at their table. We didn't have any hors d'oeuvres. The bar wasn't really a bar. It was kind of like a pouring station in which they could pour their own beverages. Again, this couple didn't have a lot of money, so they were pouring, their own pop and filling cups with ice or whatever. And there were some alcoholic beverages that they could use and pour and things like that. So, chips and dip, they were making it work. All right. We were making it work. Yes. Hey, I had to start out small, y'all. I know many of you all did. So no judgment here. Okay. No judgment. So they are taking pictures outside. We are now time to set up the buffet. We are helping the auntie caterer. She had a couple other people there with her, but we needed to set up the buffet tables. Now, mind you, the tables were set up, but we needed to bring out the food, light their sterno so that the food could be kept warm, put out the plates and the cups and the napkins, the cutlery, bring out the wedding cake, all of those things. So we knew that this needed to happen while the guests were in the space. When I tell y'all, this was a mess. It was people everywhere. We trying to come through with hot tinfoil pans full of macaroni and cheese, put a cake where it needed to be. Guests are trying to come over to the tables to get their drink, get their chips, whatever. It was a mess. It just looked really, really bad. Not something that by all means, I would never do that now. But again, this was 25 years ago. I'm learning as I'm going, right? And so the couple is done taking pictures. Let's go ahead with these introductions. Y'all, didn't I tell y'all I was going to write that down? The names of the wedding party on a piece of paper? Why I forget to do that? So the DJ looking at me, I'm looking at him. I'm like, start the music. Send the people, so I can send the people in. He was like, I don't have any names. Y'all, how much more can I forget? This is the first beginning. This is the beginning of my very, very specific, detailed timeline. It started from wedding number 1. I didn't give the man the name, so I hurry up to the microphone. This is also when I learned that sometimes wedding planners are going to have to be the MC. Because I knew the wedding party names, I went on ahead, took the mic from him, and started introducing or announcing the wedding party into the reception space. Yeah, that was my first role as a wedding planner and also / MC. That's what I had to do for that wedding because I didn't have a defined timeline for him. I didn't have everything that he needed. So all he did was pretty much play music, and I ran back and forth, grabbing the microphone, making sure things were taking place for the reception, doing all of the things that needed to be done. And you would say, hey, you had a partner there with you. What was she doing? She was trying to figure it out too, because we had no clue what we were doing. We just wanted to make sure that this couple was happy and smiling, and I needed to make sure that I worked for that $300 that I had charged her. Lo and behold, I know now, never charge anybody $300. Actually, I'm about $300 an hour now, so don't ever think you could get a $300 wedding from the DE team. But the best part of this story is when it is time to cut the wedding cake. We did have a cake knife and server. They cut the wedding cake. Why does Auntie Cater not know how to cut a wedding cake? Y'all, I was like, you've got to be playing with me. Come to find out, Auntie Cater's wedding cake that she was creating for the couple didn't work out. So she ended up purchasing a cake from a local grocery store, a 3-tiered cake. She had never cut a wedding cake before. And let me look at y'all and tell y'all, neither had I. Neither had I ever. I have never cut a wedding cake. So me and my partner are in the back in the kitchen area looking at this cake like, I guess we're going to have to figure out something. We need to dismantle it. I knew that much. And we need to cut it and put it on some plates so it can go out on these buffet trays that they'll take to the buffet tables. All right, let's go ahead. Throw some gloves on, get a knife, and start hacking at this cake. Y'all, those pieces were big, small, some in between. Some had frosting, some were just frosting. You know, we hacked the cake up. We hacked it up. But I knew to keep that top tier. That was the anniversary tier. Anyways, the night went off, and I have to say, I had to share this story with you to speak about my humble beginnings. I can tell all of these stories time and time again about these weddings that happened, you know, about the budgets that were spent, about the decor and the great venues that I have worked in the Chicagoland area and beyond. But I needed you all to learn a little bit more about me and my humble beginnings before the company that is named now Desjardins Events even began with me, Desiree, the wedding planner. Anyways, that's it for me on the wedding tea. I hope you like this story, and I'll be back very soon for some more drama because I know that's what y'all like. Until next time, bye-bye.